Greetings, gardeners. Welcome back to the Grumpy Gardener's Medicine Show for today. Today I want to talk about ginger. Ginger is not only a great garden crop, ginger is a really delicious spice and seasoning, but ginger is also good medicine. As far as the medicinal values of ginger, there are actually many, and they're rather different. Number one, nausea and morning sickness. If you have trouble with nausea, taking ginger is a good way to settle your stomach down. It won't stop vomiting, but it does stop the urge that causes the stomach to tumble. Ginger is also an anti-inflammatory. It's related to turmeric. They're in the same family together. And it has a similar sort of an action. And so you can use ginger to solve muscle pain. If it's taken over a long period of time, daily, you use a little bit of ginger, it will relieve pains in the muscles. It will also work with arthritis because it's an anti-inflammatory. One of the more interesting properties of ginger is its ability to lower blood sugar. Now this can be really handy with people who have blood sugar irregularities. It's possible to balance them out by taking daily doses of ginger. Indigestion. If you have eaten too much at Thanksgiving dinner, try some ginger. Ginger is good at settling the stomach. It's also, they say, useful against ulcers and microlesions in the esophagus and the stomach too. It has a curative property in that regard. Studies indicate that ginger is also useful at lowering bloodstream cholesterol. Now that's pretty exciting stuff. There aren't too many things that will actually scrub cholesterol back out of the bloodstream. I think most of our cholesterol issues in this society are really related to inflammation in the veins and the arteries. Not so much from what we eat. Modern research in this seems to indicate that there are quite a few high cholesterol foods that when you eat them, that cholesterol doesn't end up running around your bloodstream. Cholesterol in the bloodstream is mostly due to inflammation in the vessels themselves. Well, ginger being an anti-inflammatory will reduce that inflammation and reduce the amount of cholesterol flowing into the bloodstream. The final and last medical property that I was going to discuss with ginger today is one that has definitely affected me in my life, and that's its ability to thin blood. Blood thinning chemicals, a lot of them that we use, when people have a heart attack, it's like warfarin or something. They're pretty scary stuff. While ginger is not nearly as frightening as far as that's concerned, and the Mayo Clinic considers it potent enough to be able to actually use it as a natural blood thinner. And so with some advice from your doctor, anybody out there who has issues where they need to thin blood down to prevent strokes and heart attacks, you might want to consider this, but get help with it. It is very powerful. My own personal story with this goes back to having broken a rib repeatedly in my chest, and it had developed several blood clots around this broken rib because I broke it several times in rapid succession, same rib. And then I ate at a Jamaican restaurant where some maniac chef had concocted what he called a ginger beer that had so much fresh ginger in it that it was literally a pharmaceutical dose of the plant, not a culinary dose. I drank the stuff. It was potent, but I did it. Next day I ended up with the blood clots from my broken rib getting knocked loose, moving through my system, and jamming in arteries in my heart. And so you do need to be careful with medicinal herbs because a lot of them, like ginger, are very potent. And if you happen to have, like I had blood clots just waiting for somewhere to go, it knocked it all loose, started knocking it all around my body, and it was an awful experience. I have been very careful with ginger ever since. I have also found that ginger will combine with other supplements and things that you take. For instance, I use a saw palmetto extract for prostrate. Most older men end up developing prostrate issues as they get over 50. I remember some years back while sleeping at a friend's house, and the man was about 10 years my senior, and he heard me get up every hour in the night to take a leak. And well, in the morning, Frank said, prostrate issues? I said, huh? What? He goes, man, everybody your age starts to get this stuff. You better have it looked at, otherwise you're not going to get any decent sleep. I did some research. I found out that there were a number of pharmaceuticals that could be used on this, but a lot of them have some nasty side effects. European studies, particularly in Germany, I found studies that indicated that the saw palmetto will actually function as well as most pharmaceuticals, but really doesn't hardly have any side effects at all. Well, unfortunately, what I didn't know, and that is that saw palmetto does work really well against prostrate. It's a great cure. I take 3 a day. But saw palmetto is also a blood thinner along with ginger. And so if you combine 2 blood thinners together, you'll find yourself squirting out every hole if you poke a hole in yourself. It took me a while to put 2 and 2 together to figure out what was happening. I did not realize that the saw palmetto actually did operate as a blood thinner too. But it's the best natural cure we have for prostrate issues. I'm using a 160 milligram capsule of an extract. I don't find that the raw ground dry berry is powerful enough to be able to treat my condition. I need the extract because it's much more high potency. And again, since the saw palmetto is not a culinary plant, I haven't figured out a way to really work it into my cooking, so it's not part of my diet. This is a supplement that I take every day. 360 milligram extract capsules per day allow me to get a good night's rest instead of having to run to the bathroom all the time. But again, beware with saw palmetto if you take it, and high doses of ginger that really loosen your blood up. And Hawaii ginger is an easy garden crop. Here's some that I planted last year. I haven't dug any of it up yet, but I see that it's spreading all over the place here. It's such a good crop in this locality that there are farmers who are raising fields of this stuff right here in Mountain View. The local soil is very good for the production of ginger. You can see here how abundant. Look, see, it runs. It is rhizome, so lots to harvest. Lots of ginger to harvest here. Let's see. Very good. There we have it. So, as you can see, easy garden crop here. I'm kind of lazy. I don't raise this stuff commercially, and so I don't bother to harvest it in the timely fashion. The right thing to do is plant ginger in spring, grow it throughout the entire summer, and come fall when it goes dormant, dig it up. I leave mine in the ground. It kind of spreads all over the place and sort of runs wild, which works for me. Anytime I need ginger, I just go out and get some. Boy, I tell you, the aroma of this is enough to cure nausea. Oh, it's a nice smell, just settles in my stomach. So even the fumes from it are good. So anyway, that's simple in growing it. But for those of you who live in the mainland or some other non-tropical location, there is still a lot of hope for raising ginger. Like turmeric, as I described earlier, ginger goes dormant in fall, and it doesn't wake up again until spring. So it is possible in the mainland United States to go ahead, plant ginger in containers in spring, grow it throughout the summer as a garden crop, and then come fall, go ahead and bring the containers into shelter. Your basement if it's really cold out. In California, the garage or a shed will work, just someplace where it doesn't freeze. The root does not want to freeze. And then you can go ahead and continue to harvest it throughout the entire winter, as I did, just by reaching into the pot and breaking some off. Right here, I have an excellent example of a ginger plant that's grown in a 3-gallon squat container here. It doesn't need a lot of depth, mostly just spread. It goes across the surface. And you can see here how it's doing really, really well in this pot. It's been in there since last year. It's about time that I get in here and harvest some of this and divide it out. It's the time that we do that. I like to do it in containers like this just because when the plant goes dormant in fall, I can lose it. And if I don't remember exactly where I put the ginger, I might scratch my head and wander around for a long time trying to figure out what happened to it. So a container, even here in Hawaii, can be a great idea. The plant does not need a lot of root room. Here I have a special cultivar that's called a fiberless ginger. This is a new one. It doesn't have the strings in it. It's from the USDA Tropical Fruit Repository. I'm messing around with it. We're going to increase the numbers. We'll see what I think of it, whether it compares to regular ginger or whatnot. I assume if you're going to turn this into slices for sushi, the fiberglass type is probably a better thing. It's much more tender. As far as the medicine, I don't think the fibers matter, but the point here is this is a simple 1-gallon nursery pot. Now I can feel the sides are beginning to stretch because this was in here since last year. It needs to come out and needs to move up in size. But we have a good looking strong ginger plant with plenty of root inside the pot here to harvest, growing in a simple 1-gallon container. That easy, huh? Isn't it amazing? Yeah, so if you live anywhere where ginger is not going to be winter hardy, just growing it as a summertime crop and then putting it away when it goes to sleep in the fall can do the job for you. So you can have your own fresh ginger, and the easiest way to get it is just to go into the market, find nice, high quality, fresh looking ginger roots that are firm, and take them and plant them. I usually look for the little eyes on the top of the root. Here, right there on these little knobs, there's little bumps on top that are kind of green and stick up. Those are going to be where the sprouts will come. Putting the ginger in so those are above the soil and the rest is below the soil works. Only put the ginger in about halfway into the soil. Don't bury it completely. Leave the little buds pointing upward. So there you have it. It's anti-nausea. It's good for the digestive system. It's going to help thin your blood. It will lower cholesterol, and it can reduce blood sugar level. Wow, what a plant, huh? And it does all of them quite well. There's not a lot of mythology around this. Ginger is a very well documented medicinal herb. There's many things that I question as far as whether they really do or do not do what they claim. In the case of ginger, stuff's pretty much right on, folks. It does what they say it'll do. So just be careful with it, and especially if you're mixing it with saw palmetto or some other blood thinner. If you're already taking a pharmaceutical blood thinner from the doctor, be real careful. Okay? Just be real careful, because this stuff will loosen you up. Aloha, happy gardening, and good health. Be well.